Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Jada Toys Ultra Street Fighter 2, the Final Challengers AKUMA, or Goki, if you want to call him Goki, because that's also his name. This is my favorite character in Street Fighter, and this is my favorite figure of this character that I own. However, I'm still going to review it properly. Okay, we're still going to do the review. I'm going to talk about the good stuff and the bad stuff and say where it can be improved and say what things are already really good. All of that kind of thing. Because yes, this is a great line of figures and you probably can't do better for your money except for maybe with the Storm Arena figures. But that doesn't mean they're perfect and there are still things to review. That's what we're here for. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's get them off the stand and take a closer look. Alright, before I show you the figure, I do want to show you my package. It is, not surprisingly, the same kind of packaging as all of the other figures in the line, which is really nice packaging. I love it. It's good, and I think that's fine. Who do we have left to get? I have to get him. He's coming soon. Him. Who else? Him. Is that it? Is that all of them? We're almost done. Very cool. Love that. All right, so here he is. He is in stock at Big Bad Toy Store. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to get one. He stands just about, let's say to the top of his head, about 6 1/8. That's going to be roughly, I don't know, 15 centimeters, 15 and a half, I mean, just around there. Here he is up against Darwin, so that's fine. That seems about right. Here he's up against Ryu, the original release of Ryu, and that's super, wow, putting him here really makes that yellow stand out. Did they change his skin tone? I forget, and I haven't looked at mine in forever. When they re-released these guys in the secondary packaging from the new factory, did he change colors? I really hope he did, because I hate that skin tone. I don't want to have to swap out parts. Alright, so yeah, here he is up against Ryu. He is just a touch taller, which is probably appropriate, and he is a touch chunkier, which is the way I like it. All right, that sounded exactly the way I meant it. Let's get into this, but first a question of the day. How do you feel about AKUMA with pointy ears? Do you think he should have pointy ears? I do not. There's almost no source material that has him in with pointy ears. There are a few things, one being, coincidentally, I'm sure not, this. But this also is a very stylized portrayal of AKUMA. Look at the forehead, look at the brow. Like, his brow's never had that giant swoopy thing going on. So I've always disliked this artwork because it doesn't really match most of what the figure or character looks like in almost anything else. So I don't like the pointy ear. If that's supposed to be a pointy ear, I assume it is. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I prefer AKUMA to not look like that. But let me know what you guys think. Should he have pointy ears and look like an elf? That's a little bit of foreshadowing. Let's get into the review. Aesthetically, I like a lot of what's going on here. He still has the textured clothing. It looks like it's a slightly different pattern than before, than on Ryu. Like, maybe the texture is a little bit bigger in scale. I don't know. Still looks fine. That's all right. He's not super shiny, but he is a little bit more shiny than some of the other figures in terms of the clothing, especially in some spots. He's pretty shiny. I think that's fine. The belt is a nice flat brown, but it definitely needs a wash or something to make it not look cheap. It looks really cheap, honestly. Like, you can do this. You can do all black. Doesn't stand out as being cheap. The solid brown belt, it looks bad to me. I don't care for that. Needs a wash. The skin tone, I love the skin tone. I think they nailed it. The shading, again, not perfectly placed. It's a good color though, but you can see some of the shading is not quite there where it's supposed to be, but I'd rather have it than not have it. So that's fine. So I'm okay with that. They did do his sandals. They look a little cheap. I mean, Jada has this sort of simplistic style going on, so whatever, you can argue that it's fine, but they don't really have anything going on. They're just flat hunks of plastic. No matter how you look at them, there's no detail going on, which is not like the biggest deal because it's just his shoes, but you have the tiniest bit of kind of like rope detail on the strap there, but yeah, not much going on. So, you know, there's a few issues here and there. One of the biggest issues I have is his bead necklace, his prayer beads. That's just, so the problem is they're actually independent beads, and I love that they got the kanji on there. It's not super well painted, but it's there. But they used a stiff plastic. Let me deal with this. All right. They used a stiff plastic. What's going on here? Get on there. All right. Can we talk about these, please? They used a stiff plastic. rather than thread, which I'm sure was to make it easier to assemble, to save some time and cost, but nope. If you're going to use something rigid, it has to be bendable, it has to be a wire, which is almost preferable because then you can shape it to him perfectly. You don't have to worry about like resituating it, but a bendy wire would be great, or at least thread. Now luckily, not too super hard to just snip this and put some thread in there. But at least they included the beads. That's nice. It's way better than what NECA did with their crap that they did when they released AKUMA. It's funny how AKUMA has not had very many good figures. Anyway, those could be a lot better. But let's talk about this. This is the thing. The thing that I'm most worried about when I first saw this figure. His face. His head sculpts. Not even talking about the pointy ears. I don't think that looks like AKUMA. First of all, his mouth is gigantic. And his eyes are narrow, and his nose is long and pointy, and to pair that with the pointy ears, he looks like some kind of demon elf. He's not supposed to look like an elf. He's supposed to have a very broad face, and his mouth could be that way, but his head is cone-shaped. If his head got bigger at the brow like it's supposed to, I think it would look a lot better. In fact, I'll Photoshop this for you guys. But the way they've done it, it's funny because AKUMA, he's had a few figures and almost none of them get the head sculpt right. Soda Toys did a pretty good job with it, and SH Figure Arts did an okay job with it. Play Arts totally screwed the pooch, and NECA didn't do a good job either. I don't know what it is exactly, but it seems like nobody can really capture AKUMA properly. This is not it. This is fine. Like I said, it's still my favorite AKUMA figure, but it won't be once the Arena one comes out if it looks anything like the photos have looked so far. To me, this looks weird. This doesn't look like him. The way they did his hair, it's too long and comes together too much at the top so that you don't see the individual spikes as much. He almost just looks like he has a cone head from the front. So the profile, or the silhouette, which is really important on something like this, matters. It looks much better from the side, but this... I don't know why it curls up. That's weird too. It's just some weird stuff, and also the way they colored the hair. It's very bright orange, and they didn't do a wash. It's just like speckly. It looks dirty. It looks like a dirty paint job, which I think looks really, really bad, personally. So yeah, I'm still not thrilled with the head sculpt. I can live with it. I think this head sculpt is actually better. I don't love the paint job for the mouth. It looks weird. I ordered 2 of these and both of them have way too much paint on this side. But I think this head sculpt is better. However, it doesn't sit on the figure properly. I haven't opened the second one to know if that's a universal problem, but this one sits way too high. Let me know if you guys have had that same issue. But yeah, otherwise he looks good. Like I don't hate the figure because of the head sculpt. It's fine, but it's certainly not what I want it to be. And then we have this back here, which is pretty good. They have the light blue going around the red, which is a nice enough look, but the red needs to be more opaque and more saturated. That just looks cheap. So, like, I get that it's an inexpensive figure, and again, because people can't hear anything other than extremely good or extremely bad on the internet, I'm not saying this is a bad figure, but there are things that could definitely be improved, and they will be making more figures, so it's good to have that feedback. If you're going to have the big kanji on his back, it needs to be saturated. It needs to not have blue peeking through. That's unfortunate. But generally speaking, he does look really good. Now, the last thing I want to talk about would be the proportioning. None of his limbs or anything are too long or too short or anything. I think that's fine, but he is very boxy, which is a thing they've been doing. Kind of funny because Storm did the same thing with their big line. Very boxy Street Fighters. The waists are way too wide on these guys, and it makes them look very boxy. Same thing here. His waist is just as wide as his super broad chest and shoulders. Luckily, a lot of that breadth comes from the shoulders, so it doesn't look too bad. But he does have a very thick waist and a very square torso with no traps and a skinny neck. So it does look weird in some angles. It looks a little bit weird. Luckily, when you pose him, it's not a big deal. But, you know, there's definitely room for improvement. I think a little bit more of an organic look to the torso without such a thick waist would be a great improvement. These guys are known for being very bulky, but also having skinny waists. Like, they're very dynamic looking. So that's a thing. One last little thing, which is probably not a big deal to anybody but me. Maybe it is, I don't know. These are now a separate piece. They're a floating piece. So they hide the gappy wrist way nicer. I love that. That's way better looking than it was on Ryu. So that's a good thing. So aesthetically, he's a very nice figure. It is not perfect, but he's only $30, and that's fine. But there are definitely some things that could be improved, but he's still really good. So I will go 8.5 out of 10. It's a very nice looking figure, but I would like to see those things fixed. Now, as far as accessories go, I'm not going to count the necklace, but I'm going to count the alternate head. So he does have the 2 heads. Like I said, I prefer the secondary head in some ways, but mine does not seat properly, and it looks like there's nothing wrong with it. So I think that's just the way they made it. So that's unfortunate. I don't love the way they did the eyes on this guy either, by the way. They're not painted super well. It's just kind of a badly done red spot on top of white. It doesn't look very good. Then we have the alternate hands, which is fine. 2 fist hands, 2 fireball hands. That's good. Then we get his fireball and the stand. And now the fireball, I've been in AKUMA main for a long time, but I haven't played Street Fighter in a long time either. Does he have a giant red fireball? I know he shoots red fireballs with the alternate input for fireballs, the bottom half circle, but how... It's humongous. This is like, is this some kind of one of his super dupers? I don't remember. I never used his super dupers other than to teleport and die 1,000 deaths over and over again. I don't know. It looks cool-ish. It looks decent from the front, I guess. Decent from the back, but from the side, that straight line is just... I think they should do something about that. It's too... whatever. It's nice that it's included, though, so that's great. I'm just, it's a review, and if they could manage to get some spikies going forward on that, that would look way better. So yeah, could be better, but still really nice. I love that we're getting energy effects in these lines. So for this price point, 9 out of 10. Like, it's great to see accessories. It's really, really nice to see on an action figure. All right, so let's get into the articulation on this guy. He is a chonker compared to some of the other guys, so I'm curious if he's going to pose well. He does have some new articulation here, so we will see. But he has ball pegs for the neck and head, and moves around nicely. That's the way to do it. He is... a little gappier than I was expecting, which is fine, as long like you don't have to go that far. But I'm not sure that the gaps even serve a purpose, so it could be better, maybe. But yeah, it moves around nicely. It works well. I think I'm being persuaded to just be in the camp of having articulated necks rather than not. I'll ask another question of the day. I asked you guys this before. Do you like articulated necks or no? I usually get the answer of if they look okay, then yes. His neck is so skinny, man. I really wish they didn't give him such a skinny neck on such a big, broad body. But yeah, I like the articulated necks Jada does. Now, his shoulder joints are not the same as Ryu's. They go forward and back, but they go up and down as well to give you a little bit of extra range. That's nice. They work reasonably well. We're not getting any sort of crazy poses. Like, you are not bringing the arms across the chest in any super way. It's just going to be enough. So... we don't have any... well, you know what? We can just take his gi off. I'll show you that. I love that they use the nice soft plastic for the clothing. That's nice. Well, for the shirt anyway, not the pants, of course. All right, so let's take this off. We'll see how he looks. Now, if you remember when I reviewed the Storm Arena Ryu and Ken, I talked about how skinny their waists were when you took the clothes off, and they look slightly strange because of it, but with their clothes on, they look much better. His waist is not extra skinny, so it makes him look probably a little bit better with his clothes off, but less good with his clothes on. But so here you can see the shoulder. It moves around in all the directions. Doesn't have a ton of range, but still, it is nice to have that, and it's well implemented. Definitely a good direction to go. Going backwards definitely isn't the best option in terms of looks. If you have his clothes off, if you don't, then it's fine. Like, leave his clothes on probably anyway, weirdo. But yeah, it's nice. I like that they are implementing change and doing some good stuff here. Bringing the arm up, no problem at all. And all of the joints are pretty nice on this guy. In fact, they were relatively stiff when I first opened him up. Yeah, everything works pretty well. He has bigger arms than the other guys. They're thicker, and he still gets really good range. Elbow plastic's not maybe a perfect match there, but it looks better in person than it does on camera. But yeah, his joints work nicely. He poses pretty darn well. Like, I really enjoy this figure. I'm sure people are going to try to defend the figure against my horrible reviews. I have to review things, guys. That's my job. But they are hippie, and they are boxy, and especially if his clothes are on, he's still very square. But he poses well despite that. As for the torso, they actually did a really nice job with this, which isn't surprising because they've already done that before, but he has nice range. Really good range without any upside down ab crunches or anything like that. Just some nice ball pegs. Goes a really long way. He can lean forward, he can lean back. Everything works well. He leans to the side. Yeah, you really don't have any issues. It rotates, of course, not so much at the top, but definitely at the bottom. So yeah, you're not going to have any issues posing his torso. It's going to work well, and obviously the outer layer of the soft plastic might get in the way a little bit, but not much, because it's thin and soft, and it works well. So yeah, very good torso on this guy. Now for the hips, surprisingly, because if you would look at only Hasbro products, you'd think hips don't ever work. Full splits, even though he's got those really thick hips. That's nice. That's the way to do it. All you have to do is put that joint in the right spot. And obviously make sure there's room for the leg to move, but they've done that with softer plastic there for the crotch. He kicks up high, better than horizontal. No problem at all there. The legs can go back. Jada is really just putting to shame anybody else that's even near this price point other than Storm Arena, who I think is actually edging them out. But we'll talk about Chun-Li later, because I think both companies have totally lost the Alpha Chun-Li. It doesn't look good. So yeah, the knee is pretty good. Decent range. Not too ugly, although they still do the faceting kind of like Hasbro does, which I don't like. I like my knees rounded. I like my joints rounded. Yeah, they have it up here too. Unfortunate. But yeah, decent enough knee. And then the shin does rotate under the pants, which is great. That really helps posability for the ankle. The ankle goes all the way back. That's nice. Pretty far forward. Not that far, but you do get the toe hinge. Now, two things to note about the toe hinge. By the way, we'll get back to that. But the ankle rocker is good, but it's at a pretty steep angle. But because you have this rotation, it doesn't matter. It doesn't look terrible or anything like that, so that's perfectly acceptable. Now, the toe hinge is exactly how I've been saying toe hinges need to be made. The joint should be the full height of the foot. It should just be a circular joint. No extra little question mark at the bottom. So this is great. This is the way to do it. And then obviously with the sandal on there, having it connected to the front half, that's... If they didn't do that, there'd be something something wrong with whoever's designing things, because that's how that would work in any reasonable way. So yeah, they did a good job there. No problem with that. It could be a little stiffer, but that's what she said, and that's okay. All right, so his articulation, it does work surprisingly well, especially for the $30 price point. Like, this line, as I've been saying from the beginning, it's basically a notice to every other company other than Storm, who is just going toe-to-toe with these guys, and that's great too. Competition lets everybody win, except for whoever loses. But it lets the customers win. It's a great line. This is one of their better releases. I have things that I don't like about it, but it is definitely a really strong release, and for sure my favorite AKUMA. I'll give his articulation for the price point, for the overall aesthetic and everything, I'm gonna say 9 out of 10. It's pretty darn good. And now it's time for the final verdict. I'll reiterate the things I would change briefly. They're a little boxy. They need their hips or the waists and hips to come in a little bit. Baggy pants aren't baggy at the hip, so they need to trim this down. I'll Photoshop it so you guys can see. And then I'd like to see his face change, and the hair paint is just really rough. The paint for the hair is like my least favorite thing about this figure. But otherwise, it's pretty damn good, and subjectively, I really like this figure. Where's the kanji? Objectively, I still really like it, but, you know, like I said, why is this not going on? What's going on there? There we go. All right, 9 out of 10. Maybe even 9.5. You could pick, but I'll go 9.5 for the price point. Yeah, you're not beating Jada unless you're buying Storm. So it's just really, really good. I love Jada for doing this. Street Fighter fans, as people say, have been eating well lately. And it just keeps getting better and better. So much better. I hope Jada keeps going. Just make every version. Can we please get some Third Strike in here? Please, please, please. Or some SVC Chaos designs? Like, yeah, right, that's not happening. But please, can I have that? I want to see Jada just keep going with Street Fighter. Go all out. I love it. Same thing with Storm. Just you two keep going back and forth, and we'll all keep buying everything. But great line. Great figure. I'm very happy with it. So there it is, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below, but that's it for me. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.